Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Heels on the Court. My name is Lee Lyons, and I'm here with my co-host, Sam Kirschenbaum. Sam, how's it going?
I am
Happy
doing
Thanksgiving.
well again. Happy Thanksgiving. Although this will probably be so late for Thanksgiving,
So late.
but that's
It's gonna be
okay.
like, people are gonna be like, Merry Christmas, and we're
Our
just gonna be like, Happy
our
Thanksgiving.
millions of fans are going to be so disappointed in how delayed we are. It's just
Whoopsies.
we got so
Sorry.
many
I mean,
listeners. Anyway,
starting out is rough, right?
that's exactly right.
But yeah, welcome to the podcast, all of our listeners, Mom, Mrs. Kirschenbaum, Lisa, Bill, David,
Great, out my whole
maybe,
family.
maybe Gladys. I doubt she doesn't know how to turn on a podcast. But welcome everybody who's listening to another week of sports news with Heels on the Court. We got some pretty interesting stuff going on this week. We're going to talk a little bit about Sarah Fuller, the kicker at Vanderbilt. Gotta love Vandy. I wanted to go to Vandy when I was applying to schools. Didn't get in. Disclaimer. But talking about that and also just talking about youth sports in general. So Sam, I'm gonna let you kick off the Sarah Fuller discussion because I know you've got some strong opinions
Wow,
about that.
my opinions just got stronger because one of the things that I was just pulling up right now is Jason Whitlock's Twitter account. Jason Whitlock, he used to work for ESPN. I don't know if he still does. I think this might be the most disgusting thing that I've ever seen in the sports world. And this is real time, my reaction. I was going to pull up a list of tweets that he had tweeted out the day of Sarah Fuller's debut as a college football player. And as I opened it just 6 hours ago, I see a retweet of the Southeastern Conference. It says hashtag SECFB Special Teams Player of the Week at Sarah Fuller _27. Jason Whitlock retweeted it and said, "Make a wish." I am speechless. I think that we pride ourselves, even though we're in episode whatever this is 2, but we pride ourselves on no dead air on this podcast. I am so disturbed right now by this comment that I really don't know exactly what to say. And I kind of want to hear your initial reaction before I sort of unload, because
Yeah.
it's gross.
I mean, all weekend, I guess, I have been seeing on Twitter, Facebook, social media in general, send her back to the kitchen. Is she making sandwiches for the entire football team? All this other BS. And it's disgusting. I mean, she is I want to say not doing the football team a favor, but she is a ranked soccer player.
Mm-hmm.
And fantastic at that, title winning soccer player.
Yeah.
And as a kicker, this whole thing is ridiculous, and for people to be this pissed off about a woman playing football, she's not the quarterback, she's not on the line, she's a kicker. Why are people so distraught over this? Is it really hurting your masculinity to have a woman be on your football team? Oh, are you upset that she might help you win a championship that you couldn't win before? Really? People are I know you're a guy, and I don't
Mm,
like mean you because you clearly are one of the people who like is disgusted by this, but there is like an overwhelming sense of toxic masculinity with this whole Sarah Fuller thing. That it's really disgusting, and it just shows that sports still has a huge way to go. Like I know last episode we talked about the Marlins with Kim becoming the GM and everything
mm-hmm.
like that. Um and I love that. That's great. I'm all about girl power.
Yeah. Um,
Like get over yourselves. Like, can you be a kicker? Like, no. So shut up and watch the damn football game. Like,
yeah. And let's go over the facts first, just for anybody that doesn't know exactly what happened. I'm sure everybody does. But basically, look, they explained it on the show. I mean, on it during the game, they explained it. They said exactly what happened, which was Vanderbilt had a COVID infiltration, if you will, into their kicker group. So the kickers aren't allowed in the facility; they can't participate in anything. And typically, what you would do is hold an open tryout. Like if something happened for some reason where every kicker on your roster got injured, you would hold an open tryout and pick a random kid from your school to be the kicker, right? So that wasn't an option. The reason that wasn't an option is because only athletes are allowed on campus at Vanderbilt right now. Um, so with that being said, there is no men's soccer team, which perhaps that wouldn't have even been the best option anyway. So they called the only place that had people that have kicked balls before, which was the women's soccer team. It's the only eligible group of people to pick from. And that's how they ended up with Sarah Fuller, as she's the goalie. And I'm not a soccer expert, but as the goalie, you need to obviously be able to kick the ball really far after you have a
I mean, you kick
save,
it,
your free kick, right? From
yeah,
the box, so you got to kick it far. So that's why they
you kick
picked
it
her.
more than halfway down the field. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're kicking it like really far. And a lot of soccer players on men's teams end up because I guess they're different seasons. I don't really know. Because I played soccer in AYSO. I'm not like a professional soccer player, but I guess they're different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're a men's soccer player, you can also be a kicker on a football team. Like it works out.
Right.
Like and tons of schools do it.
Right.
But
Right.
apparently if the only people that you have access to are women, it's not okay.
I don't understand. And so with that being said, though, with the background put in place, do you know the size of an average FBS quarterback? Take a guess.
I'm gonna say ginormous. Final answer.
6'2", 207 pounds. Okay.
Right.
Sarah
And I'm
Fuller.
assuming that Sarah Fuller is probably around like maybe in between 5'7" and 5'11", and I'm gonna say that pushing it, she maybe weighs 160.
You are
Maybe.
incorrect. Very incorrect.
Oh.
Yeah. Sarah Fuller is 6'2", and rumors have her weighing at around 190 to 195
Huh.
of just pure muscle, by the way.
Right.
She is an athlete. Definition of athlete. And look, she's not going to make a tackle in the game. She has to win an SEC. So she won an SEC championship last week, right? Now she's kicking for, at the time, an 0-7, now 0-8 Vanderbilt team. She's not going to go make a tackle. She has to go play for an NCAA tournament championship. You think she cares about making a tackle for an 0-7 football team?
She's got to make a tackle.
It doesn't even make any sense, right? I mean, it makes no sense.
No,
And then
it
Jason
doesn't.
Whitlock, who's supposed to be a voice in sports, verified Twitter account. How many followers does he have? He has 437.7 thousand followers. Okay, that's a big reach. You're supposed to be somebody who has some integrity, journalistic integrity, takes what they do seriously, and reports the facts the way that they're supposed to be reported. Okay? And for you to ask, which my original tweet that I was going to go for, and I'll circle back to that Make-A-Wish tweet, because that's beyond offensive for entirely other reasons. You got to understand here that, so Jason Whitlock says something to the effect, I can't find it right now. He's tweeted too much in the last little bit. But he said, questions I shouldn't ask. Does Vanderbilt have a men's soccer team? The answer is no. Did they ask one of the men to kick? Again, no. And then he said, is this the best person available or a publicity stunt? First of all, Google is a wonderful friend, Jason. So you might want to give that a try sometime, because you could have saved yourself a lot of embarrassment on the internet by doing that. I know you're trying to build your brand by being an embarrassing, just gross human being, but you could have answered those questions. No, there was no soccer team. No, there's nobody more qualified than her on campus. Oh, and by the way, that kick that she had to start the second half, 100% intentional. So, yes, she can kick it through the back of the end zone. It was strategic. You're kicking for a crappy football team. They can't play football. They suck. So now you're going to kick it off, and you're going to have the ball returned 11 on 10 because that soccer coach is not letting her make a tackle. First of all, I don't know if she's ever played football before, but you got to learn how to tackle, and you got to be prepared for hits. Doesn't matter how big or small you are, right? So it takes time to learn that. I'm just so blown away by the absolutely disgusting nature of tweets and comments about somebody who just went out and did something and something really special and historical. Why can't we just enjoy it? I mean, I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
And then, I mean, going on top of, like, you saying you have to learn how to tackle, just from, like, going to a couple of conferences, especially at my alma mater for my undergraduate, we had the conference on world affairs, and basically it was like a whole month of just conferences on every single topic, basically just like a TED Talk, multiple TED Talks every single day. And all of our professors would be like, instead of coming to class, like, you need to go to one of these talks and you need to like write a report so that we can like prove that you went. But it was always kind of nice because then you didn't have to go to class. But I always went to the conference about sports and concussions, because that's one of my things that I know that I've talked about with you, is like something that I'm really passionate about is concussions in sports and how we can start to improve upon CTE and things like that. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a doctor. I didn't take any of those classes. But one thing that I do know, football is not the number one sport for concussions. Would you like to know the number one sport for concussions?
I'll pretend I don't.
Soccer.
But yes, the header. The header is terrible.
A header, specifically women's soccer, is the number one most like dangerous sport for concussions that somebody could play. So not only, I don't know Sarah Fuller's background. I don't know how many concussions she's had in her past. I'm sure she's had at least one, because most soccer players at her level have probably had one at some point in their lifetime. But I mean, she's already at risk for that in soccer. Like you said, you need to learn how to properly tackle for football. But also, like, it's just not fair going up against somebody who weighs twice as much as you do and then can damage your brain. I mean, listen, if I ever have a family and I ever have children, they will probably not be playing football just because of the statistics and everything that goes along with concussions.
Absolutely.
But she could literally like not come out as the same person. That could completely destroy her life.
Yeah, well,
and
sorry. But
no, but like the school doesn't want to have to deal with that.
No.
Like that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. I mean, I'm sure that there's some legal stuff in place, like the school makes people sign with the athletics and whatever. But like, why even put somebody in that position when you can strategically like do what they did? And they're 0-8. They are 0-8.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, look,
they suck.
Pat McAfee punted and kicked off a football for a living. Okay? He said that is exactly what her job was. Kick the ball, keep it in bounds, don't allow a return, set up your defense. That's what she did. And she kicked it
And
exactly
I'm
where it
glad,
was that she wanted to kick it.
yeah, and I'm glad that, like, looking at her social media, I'm sure personally she probably isn't feeling super hot. Maybe she feels fine, maybe this isn't getting to her. But looking at her social media, this is like outwardly it doesn't seem like this has gotten to her, and it looks like she's
Mm-hmm.
going to continue playing, and she's going to just keep her head up and continue doing what she's doing,
Yeah.
which I think is great, and I think it's a good way to like outwardly, become a role model for like young girls and whatever. Um but like these people just suck, and I like it's just like adding to like the trash fire that is 2020. Um I don't know how to explain it otherwise. It's just so ridiculous, and like, do these people have anything better to do with their time? Like, apparently not,
I
it's just I'm just so frustrated with it, and I'm tired. I mean, I'm frustrated, but also I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I She's not going to go make the whole football team sandwiches. If anything, they should go bring her a juice box.
mm-hmm.
Like, she's the best thing that's on the Vanderbilt team. So all the critics can like shut up, honestly.
Yeah. Did you see the end of the game when they interviewed her?
I didn't. No.
So they said, "How does it feel to make history? And were you nervous? Were you this? Were you that?" Really building up the situation. And she said, "Well, this was a whole lot less stressful than winning an SEC championship." And I loved that. I
Boom.
was like, that is right.
Roasted.
This is someone who's committed their life to a sport. She doesn't care. All she did was, okay,
No.
kick the ball somewhere, get off the field. If you watch the video, she kicks the ball and she runs directly off the field. Like, it was
Yeah.
so clearly intentional. I just don't understand why people can't get that through their heads.
Because
That's
these people pretend to be fans. It's the whole bandwagoning effect, which I mean, you've seen this with like the Patriots. You've seen it with the Patriots, you've seen it with like Golden State, the Cavs, whatever team has won any kind of championship ever, you will get bandwagoners. And
mm,
these are people who like understand the gist of the sport. So like when we say at the beginning of our podcast, welcome casual fans, welcome sports fanatics. Luckily, Sam and I know how these games are played.
mm-hmm.
Um, the casual fan, please, you're welcome to come. Please learn, but like also come to educate yourself, because this was clearly a move that was like told, like somebody told her to kick it that way, and she executed it, and she did it well.
Yeah, she
I
did.
mean,
I mean,
that like
I wish that they would have let her just kick it out of the back of the end zone, but that wouldn't have been the right move. And here's another thing we don't know about Vanderbilt too, winless Vanderbilt. Have they had troubles with the return game all year? To be honest with you, I don't know. So that could have been it. They could have had their regular kicker do the same thing because they've been giving up long returns. There are a
right.
number of things that could have gone into that decision that have nothing to do with the gender of the kicker.
Yeah. And it's just another reason for people to complain and for people to get like upset about something. Um, but like I just can't help but think if this was a guy and he was the kicker, like it wouldn't be that big of a deal. People would go, "Oh, that was a smart move to do." And
Mm-hmm.
like all that kind of stuff. And like why we're even focusing, like yeah, it's a big deal, but like why we're even making such a big deal like over it, for like a team that has not won a game this season. You know, okay, let's focus on the fact, like that fact. Let's
Yeah.
look at that and just try to fix, you know, like we said, she's just the kicker. She just gets the ball to where it needs to go. Let's talk about offense. Let's talk about defense. Let's talk about all of the plays that they're running. Then, if everything lines up to where, yeah, they're perfect, they could all play on an NFL team, well, then maybe we can blame Sarah. Okay. But even then, no, because she was told to do that, and that's what she did.
hmm And how about
You don't get.
why doesn't the offense get the ball past the 50-yard line more than once in the first half? Maybe that'll help. Give her a chance to kick a
That would
field
be
goal or an extra
great.
point. But
You know? Yeah.
I'm dumbfounded again by Jason Whitlock and his Make a Wish comment, and I if he is employed, I hope he's no longer employed. Um, it is so
I mean, who even
insensitive.
is he?
It's I just don't understand the obsession. Look, for me, it was something that was really cool because it's a novelty and it's something that I got to see live.
Right.
You know, I got to see history live, which was really cool. But it didn't have to do with this is a woman, is she deserving, is she not deserving? No, it was just like I got to see something that I get to tell my grandkids or whatever, that I saw the first
Right.
woman do it. It could have been the first anything, and I would have been
It would have
happy to
been
see it.
amazing.
People
Yeah.
that
I
know me
like, I,
know that like I like to go to sporting events when I know the first this might happen or the 100th this might happen. It's
because it's
something
really
that,
cool.
yeah, it's really cool. It's a special thing to be a part of, and even just to watch it on TV was so cool. Just enjoy the moment. Stop being such a pessimist and putting everybody down. Maybe if you live life
Yeah.
that way, you'd feel a little bit better about yourself. But that's just my opinion. And if you got a problem with it, look, we're nothing probably compared to you, but you're more than welcome to come on here and tell me what you think, because I just find what you said to be disturbing, disgusting, inappropriate, and unprofessional. You should be
And like,
ashamed
we
of yourself,
welcome,
Jason.
yeah, I mean, we welcome to have Jason on the show if he wants to talk about it. Because, you know, it's important to hear people's viewpoints, but also he's being sexist and he's wrong. That's the important thing to put out there. He's
Mm-hmm.
just wrong.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
Um, so Jason, feel free to contact us, heelsonthecourt@gmail.com, if you would like to get in touch with us to set up a virtual interview, because that is what we're doing right now due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is the reason why they had no kickers on the Vanderbilt team. And no, there was no men's soccer team like we stated earlier. So feel free to contact us and we'd be more than happy to send you the link. But kind of going along those lines, do you know how long Sarah has been playing soccer?
I don't. I don't. Do
I
you?
don't I don't either. No. But I was I was trying to transition into our talk about youth sports.
probably,
um
probably very, very young,
Probably a long time.
very young age.
Right. Probably a really long time. But no, I mean I think that it's cool to see like kids like grow up and end up playing like college sports. I think that's really cool. A lot of
Mhm.
kids come into my work since I work at a golf course, and like I get to see the middle school and high school kids like growing up and learning how to play golf and like be going on to their golf teams and playing in tournaments and stuff like that. And I think that it's really strange. I don't know how you feel about it, and I'd love to hear your take on it. But for me personally, I've seen youth sports change so dramatically
Mhm.
from like when we were kids and I was playing in like T-ball, AYSO, whatever, to like now. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I know that I went to the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference a couple of years ago, and Malcolm Gladwell and I believe it was David Epstein, who had just released his book, Range, and they were talking about specialization in sport at such a young age
Mhm.
and how like it's not good. Like, yeah, it worked for Tiger Woods, but like golf is an outlier. It was a really cool thing because Malcolm Gladwell wrote Outliers. It was funny. But But they were talking about how like you need to be more like I forget the tennis player's name, but like he played soccer, he played like all this stuff, and he really wanted to focus on tennis, but his mom was like, no, you're not going to play tennis until you're older. And
Hmm.
now he has way less injuries than the kids that have specialized from such a young age. And like it's just better for muscle development and things like that. And it's like, why do we need like a 3-year-old soccer team that's a travel team?
Yeah, there's no reason
Uh,
for it. There's no reason for it.
yeah,
It's so impossible to tell who's going to be what at such a young age. Um, Anybody that can do that is a special mind. I don't think it exists. There's so many variables. I can tell you from my personal experience of trying to play in college, it wasn't going to happen for me. And there are a lot of reasons why. For people that don't know, I'm about like 6'4" ish. But my wingspan is only
Sam's tall.
5'10". My wingspan is only 5'10". And my hands are about 7 to 7.5 inches from middle finger to palm, to wrist. And that's insanely small, both. So the average wingspan of a human being is the same as their height. So we're not even talking about a basketball player or a baseball player or whatever, right? We're just talking about a person. My wingspan is significantly smaller than the average. So
I
you
had no
wouldn't
idea that that
know
was a
that when I
thing.
was 12 years old, you know?
Right.
I was in high school when it became apparent I wasn't going to be big enough. Wasn't going to be tall enough, wasn't going to be long enough. It just was, there were a lot of things out of my control, and the injuries built up. So I played like four or five sports. I've had 2 elbow surgeries. I have some ankle issues and a knee problem. Like, just let your kids enjoy it. Don't push them into doing something that they don't really necessarily want to do. I always say,
Yeah.
just in general, like, show your child everything. Don't make them do anything. And
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So that's just like kind of a basic principle of psychology with my degree is in, is just like, you should be exposed to a lot of different sports, but let your kid choose, because ultimately you're never going to make a kid do something they don't want to do. And
Right.
so that, I mean, that's really the big takeaway. I don't know, what was your experience with youth sports?
Yeah, I think that like my parents, the way that they did it with me, mm, I don't know if it's like the same experience that everybody had, but like my parents would be like, do you want to do ballet or like, do you want to do t-ball or whatever? And I'd be like, yeah. And I was the kid that like, after like a day of it was like, I hate it. I don't want to do it anymore. But like my parents would sign me up for like the whole season or for however long the like session was. And they'd be like, okay, well, we signed you up. You wanted to do it. You're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
However, you don't have to sign up for it again after you're done with this
Yes,
session
that was
because you've
always the rule in
committed
my
to
house.
this.
So you had to finish.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, like because you committed to it and it's an important lesson to like teach your kids like if you make a commitment, you got to follow through with it. However, if you don't like it at the end, you really don't have to do it again. And I mean, it was the same for me with a lot of things. Like I mean, we met at summer camp together
Mm-hmm.
and after that like I would write home every single day going, I hate it here. Pick me up. Like I don't want to be here anymore. Blah 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 blah. But then at the end of this session, I was in the car going home with my mom, sobbing, begging her to sign me up for the next summer. So, I mean, it was like the kind of the same thing. So like I played soccer for like 2 years or 3 years or something like that because I really enjoyed it. I think it was only 2 because it was middle school. But I played for 2 years, was on 2 really amazing teams. We went like all the way, almost made it to Hawaii, and then of course like didn't win that one to go. So it was kind of like bummer.
Mm-hmm.
But I played t-ball, I did ballet, I played like 5 different musical instruments. Like had lessons for all of them. Ended up I was doing golf when I was a little kid, stopped for a little bit, went back to golf, got super into golf, was doing that, and then I went off to college. And so that's kind of just like where I was at. but that's kind of something that's followed through, like for me in my lifetime, of just like I now feel super guilty as an adult, whether it's a job or like a commitment that I've made, where if I'm not like feeling good about it and I don't want to do it anymore, I like feel the need to finish it before I can stop.
Yeah.
And then I'll quit or do whatever. But I mean, it's definitely been instilled in me. But yeah, I was never forced to do anything. I think that my parents, like, they just wanted me to be a kid. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's the important part, because a lot of these parents, I don't know if the parents are like trying to get a payday, or if they just like want their kid to be great for like college resumes or like whatever the deal is. But it's just like I see so many kids come through. Like I used to teach junior golf, and it was like 5 to 12-year-old kids. And I would ask these kids, I'd be like, wow, you're really good. Like, do you love golf? Like, do you want to be a golfer when you grow up? Because like they're little kids. They think they're gonna be astronauts, and you don't want to crush their dreams. But but like, I mean, some of these kids would be like, no, I hate golf. Like my dad makes me come to this, or my mom makes me come to this. Like I want to do surfing, or I want to do baseball,
Mm-hmm.
or like whatever it may be. And I just feel really bad, like, because they're good at it, but like I don't want to. That's the thing, is it's just like a lot of the time kids, like, they don't want to do the putting part of like our 1 hour and 30 minute like junior camp every Saturday, and they don't want to do putting or chipping. They just want to do full swing.
Right.
And like we go over to the putting area, and I'm like, okay, it's time to practice putting. And like we've got like tic-tac-toe, and sometimes we challenge people, like other groups and whatever. And like sometimes there's like one kid that I'm thinking of in particular, and he's like a really funny kid, and he's very smart for his age, but he just like doesn't want to do it. And so every time um we're like going over, I'm like, hey little Timmy, do you want to come over and putt? And he's just like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to putt with us. I'm not going to force you, but you need to sit over here and watch all the other kids putt so that I can keep an eye on you while I'm helping all these other kids. And
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, he will start putting. But it's just like I feel bad for him because he doesn't even like golf. He's only there because like his parents sign him up
Yeah, that's
and they're
frustrating.
golfers, and it gets them out to our driving range like while he's in like this hour and a half camp thing. And it's frustrating because it's like I'd much rather see them happy, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not even my kid, and it makes me feel sad for them. And then there are the kids that like love it, which is like great. Keep your kid in golf
Yeah.
until they don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Perfect. But it's just sad. And then it's like then on top of that, you've got the injury aspect of it. Not necessarily in golf. I mean, I have seen children hit in the head with golf clubs before, which is not fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, talking about the injury aspect of like pee wee football and soccer and baseball and like all this other kind of stuff, like they're getting injured so quickly, and like their careers are ruined before they even start them, because like some of these kids could be great.
Yeah.
But we would never know because of ACL tears or like elbow injuries or ankle injuries, whatever it may be. We just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's
We don't.
another like disappointing thing, because then even if they don't want to become a professional but they just want to like play the sport for fun, they might not be able to because of these injuries. Like they might have to like not ski or not play basketball or not do whatever because like their doctor won't allow them because they're at serious risk of like never walking again or never being able to have sensation in like whatever it may be. And that's just really sad, and it shouldn't be that way.
No, it shouldn't. And I just hope we stop the specialization. I think when you get to high school, if you're really, really good at something, that's when you should decide to say, okay, that's it. This is what I'm doing. But how many times, like, I watched the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss Mississippi State, over the weekend, and Matt Corral's the quarterback for Ole Miss, and he played baseball a little bit in high school, I believe they said, maybe before that, but he was a middle infielder, and they said that's how he learned how to throw the ball at different arm angles. So playing some sports really carries over into other ones. And that was something that for me helped. I know that. Footwork is something that carries over through a lot of sports. Like
Yes.
baseball and golf are very similar with your feet, the way that you use your feet. Um,
Yeah.
so there are a lot of similarities, and a lot of things help a lot, and you carry over from one sport to the other. And I don't want to see that go away from the game, from all sports.
No.
It's just something that I don't want to
Yeah.
see missing. And you know, I don't think we'll ever see a Bo Jackson again necessarily, but we definitely do have room for people that can play two sports. Ole Miss has a backup quarterback and a running back right now that play for the baseball team also. So it's not like you can't do both at a high level. You absolutely can if you're good. Um, and like just flashing back a little bit to the World Series, when Tyler Glasnow was pitching, they talked about how he learned to throw his fastball with an interesting grip. And so basically, when you throw a four seam
I
fastball, wait, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Yeah, it was weird. No, it was weird. I like made comments about it the whole World Series. I was like, "What the hell is
So
that?"
so really, it's interesting what happened. I can see a baseball, but it's too far away for me to get, and we have audio listeners anyway, so I'll describe this as best as I can. So you have your four seam grip where you put the ball. So it's four seams. So you have the two seams up here and the two seams on the bottom. Okay. So I'm pointing at my hand
Yeah.
right now. I have my two fingers on top of my imaginary baseball. And basically, what happened to Tyler Glasnow is he played too many video games in high school and developed carpal tunnel. Now, when I played high school baseball, I didn't know until I was 17, but I had cubital tunnel in my, so that's the opposite side. So that's the pinky and ring finger, whereas his is the index, middle, and part of the thumb. And so what
Yeah.
happened was, because of his carpal tunnel, is instead of throwing it with your fingers close together, it's actually something that I developed too from having issues with my nerves, is he split his grip to alleviate the pain. And then he found out that he had a special
Hmm.
talent where he could still split the grip and throw it at 100 miles an hour. And that creates a crazy movement. That's something that I couldn't do. I couldn't throw the ball
And
hard
that's
with
why
a
I'm not
split
a
grip.
professional baseball
Exactly.
player.
But imagine if we didn't have something like that discovered because his parents said, you have to play baseball all day, no video games. And he's still a major leaguer. He's still fantastic talent. And he has his signature fastball all because he was in pain and he adjusted from close together to wide apart. And now he throws a special pitch that really hasn't been seen before in Major League Baseball.
Plus, just another added bonus, he's
Mm-hmm.
hella attractive. Hella attractive.
The moral of the story is go video games. Play more video games.
Play more video games. Don't get outside.
Yeah, don't go outside. COVID. Stay inside, play video games.
COVID. Yeah, if you stay inside, you don't have to wear a mask. Bonus. But always wear a mask if you go outside and you're in crowded places.
Yes, please.
But yeah, I mean, like that grip was insane, and every time he was pitching, I was just like, this guy's weird, and it just reminded me of. Do you watch Bob's Burgers?
I don't.
No, okay, well, so like this probably won't make sense to you. Maybe some of our listeners will get this, all five of you. Um, but no, so there's like an episode where they go to like the minor league baseball game, and there's like Torpedo Jones, and he has this three-fingered skadoosh. And so every time Tyler was up to pitch, I was like, oh, he's going for the three-fingered skadoosh. And then like, of course, like my whole family, like boyfriend and everybody, they're like, Leah, did you even work for a baseball team? Like, do you know baseball? And I'm like, yeah, they get the touchdown, right? Of course, be it like joking around, but they all like roll their eyes. They don't think I'm funny at all. But I just be like, yeah, they get the bases, and that's when they get the points, right? so so yeah. probably don't watch baseball with me because the whole time I just like make random jokes and nobody thinks I'm funny, and I just throw peanuts in the house, and not even just at games. Like I just throw them everywhere.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, I mean, I think that moral of this story is let girls play football, and let kids play whatever they want. If they want to do video games, hey, I mean, let's talk about children playing video games. Esports, hello. Like that, it's a whole thing,
There's
which we
money
can
to be
totally get
made
into.
next time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like next podcast we can talk more about esports and things
Hmm.
like that, and just like all that growth, because man,
Hmm.
there's so much
It's
money.
interesting because the peak ages are different. It's a whole thing, and we'll definitely, hey, little cliffhanger, little cliffhanger. Stay
Ooh,
tuned.
you gotta listen next time.
Yep, get your esports
Hit that
fix.
subscribe button. We do have a Twitch. I don't know how to use it, but we have
Oh,
one.
well, we will, we will.
Oh, we will use it. We will live stream sometime, and you'll see me play Among Us and lose. But thanks for
uh,
listening, guys. That's all the time we've got for today. If you liked our podcast, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. Make sure that you tune in next week when we talk about esports, I guess. That'll be a fun one. I'll have to study up because I know a little bit about a lot, not a lot about a little.
there we
So
go.
I'll do my homework.